Now, Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. This is Hunt Palmer.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio downtown in the capital city on a Tuesday. Casey Gaines and Taylor Sharp back there on the ones and twos. Hope you are doing well. Everything gets crazy tomorrow. National Signing Day. Be a lot of what we talk about tomorrow. I have some preliminary thoughts here very shortly, but to set the table for the rest of the 2 hours, Glenn West with us each and every Tuesday at 1:30 talking Tiger hoops and maybe a little bit of signing day as well. LSU baseball, number one in the nation. I will give you my thoughts on that, as well as the All-Americans that are on the roster at 1:45. Matt McMahon sound from the Matt McMahon show last night to kick off hour number 2. Pels lose their 4th in a row. We'll briefly touch on that with Sharif Ishak from WDSU at 2:30. And we always have take it or leave it at the end of the show. As I mentioned, tomorrow when we get rolling here at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, we will have a ton of signatures in for LSU football. There will be commitments, there will be flips, there will be rumors, there will be lots of things. And we'll cover all that tomorrow. You'll probably hear from Shay and Billy. You heard from Mike Scarborough a little bit earlier. I'll talk to Glenn West later today. It'll be a dramatic day. But it's still a little bit different than it was in the past. And I'm going to speak kind of from my personal experience and the way that I've viewed recruiting over the years. When I was in, high school, man, what a day signing day was. And I mean, you're locked in trying to get to the library, to get to a computer, to see if you can figure out who's signed or who hasn't, or who committed. Did they get Jamarcus Russell? That's where I was in high school, and it was a huge deal. I got to college, and it was even bigger. That's when ESPNU had launched. They were doing signing day specials. I vividly remember, sitting in my room in Herget dorm. Probably a few of you driving around that have lived in Herget or spent some time in Herget over the years. Over there by Miller and the Rec and Sorority Row. Was in Herget dorm. Got the TV on. Joe McKnight. You've already heard the rumors. Pete Carroll put the Heisman Trophy of Reggie Bush at his table. Les Miles is going in there. This is the number one player in the nation. John Curtis down there. I'm a freshman at LSU. I prepared more for that announcement than I did any test for 5 years I was there. I'm sure of it. And I remember it was on ESPNU, and they panned to him, and he had on a red tie. I didn't think that was a great sign. And when he put on the USC hat, I can still hear the doors slamming, the stuff being thrown, the profanity tirades that were littered throughout the hall. It wasn't just me. It was the whole hall was locked in on this. And that's the way recruiting was back then for me personally. I'm 19 years old, LSU football. I got to get the guys. And at that time, you still had a reasonable faction of college football fans who were like, nah, I know what the 5 stars, they don't pay off. I'll take the 3-star kid who wants to be there, wants to play for the Tigers. And I think that was still fairly common. I think that has dissipated over the last 15 years. I think everyone kind of realizes you're probably going to go get some 5 stars. But I followed it so closely then. Every visit, every rumor, every report, everything you could find, I was in on recruiting all year long. And I got to Bayou Bengals Insider and began covering LSU, and that was a little bit of what I did. Derek Panamsky, who was our editor at the time, he handled more of the recruiting than I did. I did more of the team coverage stuff, but I was certainly involved in all that. And that's about the time that Twitter kind of started rolling, and Instagram would come a little bit later. And when the rumors stopped being, he may feel this way about this school, or he might go to a visit here, or his mom said this in an interview to a reporter, or whatever. That was the rumor. Now, all of a sudden, every single day with the tweets and the Instagram and what socks is he wearing and what emojis did he use. And once we started to get to that and the flips and this, and I just checked out. I said, I cannot deal with the 17-year-olds who have the power of the world at their fingertips anymore. They're welcome to do it. I'm just not going to pay attention. I don't care what color socks he has on. I don't care what emoji he did. I don't care what his girlfriend's Instagram post is from her time going to Tuscaloosa. Or I can't follow it like that at all. So very honestly, when LSU gets a commitment from a kid in July at a camp, 9 times out of 10, I never heard of him. Shelton Sampson, I got you. 5-star at Catholic. I live 800 yards from there. I got that. I've heard of that one. They get some kid from south of Lafayette. I probably never heard of him. I just don't keep up with it the way that I used to because it's too much with the social media. However, when the ink dries, I'm in. Let me know what I don't care about this rumor, that rumor. When the ink dries, what does the class look like? That's what's important to me. I don't care if they commit when they're sophomores. That's not a big deal anymore. When the ink dries and I've got the class in front of me, that's what separates championships from the Holiday Bowl. Period. That's what separates playing for the West, playing for the conference, getting in the playoff from going to the Liberty Bowl. There's a reason Kentucky and Mississippi State play in the Liberty Bowl and the Music City Bowl and the Texas Bowl, and Bama and Georgia are in the playoff every year. Yeah, their coaches are better. Their players are a lot better. And that starts with signing day. So for me personally, I will be fully invested in this class tomorrow. But I can't do it 12 months a year like I used to. I don't know how y'all feel about that. Now, the other side of this is the fan base reaction to recruiting, which I'm also very aware of. I'm on Twitter. I'm on message boards. I see it. And I'm starting to kind of shift, not shift's too strong a word, consider other things when I evaluate LSU's staff's recruiting efforts. In my opinion, there was always too many people jumping down the staff's throat because you missed that guy or you missed that guy. You can't miss Joe McKnight. Can't miss prospect. There's no way you can miss that guy. Landon Collins, how can you let that guy get out of the state? 5-star, right down the road, been to camp. Terrible job by the staff. You couldn't get it done. And I've never subscribed to that. If it always happens, now you've got a problem. If you can't keep anybody in the state, your staff's bad at recruiting. But I'm going to always give the staff credit when they land a guy. That's a good job. You can always do a good job and lose them too. The line I always use in this is you can't rope them up and throw them in the trunk and drive them to West Campus Apartments. All you can do is give your pitch. So sometimes Joe McKnight's leaving, and you can do everything you can. They probably put the same full court press on Leonard Fournette as Joe McKnight. It was probably the same. They got one, and they didn't get the other one. Probably put the exact same full court press on Eric Reed they did on Landon Collins. They got one, they didn't get the other one. Probably did the same thing for Lael Collins as they did for Cam Robinson. They got one, they didn't get the other one. It's not so easy. I'm not going to jump down the staff's throat because a kid from Louisiana commits elsewhere. Unless you've got over a 3-year sample size, you're routinely getting 2 of the top 10 in Louisiana. Then you're not good at it, and you deserve the blame. But individual cases are overreacted to, in my opinion, in the recruiting world. And now, me personally, as I look at it, there may be some things out of the coach's control. Now, I'm not naive enough to think that there was never any financial benefit from college football programs to induce recruits to come there. Of course there was. However, now it's more above board. And sometimes you just get outbid. So at this point, it may even lessen how much blame I throw on a coaching staff. And we're only talking about the negative here because on the positive side, of course they get credit. There's not even a discussion there. You got the kid, great job. There is no discussion there. But if you don't, I think there's so many people who go, how do you miss this guy? There's only so much you can do. And in my opinion, if Brian Kelly and his staff can put together a class that's top 5 in the country, they're doing a pretty good job. Even if you miss a 5-star safety from Westgate. Even if you don't get a 4-star linebacker from Manny. I think that this class, to this point, looks very, very good. Now, I could use a defensive tackle. I could use some more pieces here. Continue to fill out the secondary. And that's what I'm going to get to in the next segment. But I think more so than most people I come across with, my feelings on where blame lays with recruiting was a few notches lower than most. And now as I look at this with NIL out there on the table in year 2 here, feels like I may have even lowered that even more. And you look at the state of Louisiana, and LSU did not get a lot of the top 10, or will not get a lot of the top 10. But I still think this class is going to close really, really strong. I think it's going to be a massive amount of talent on the top end and depth as a full class. And this is probably something you'll hear me say tomorrow when we analyze the class as a whole. But quite frankly, every time you sign a recruiting class, whether it's NIL, transfer portal or not, half of them never pan out. That's just, it happens in Athens, it happens in Tuscaloosa, it happens in Starkville, it happens in Baton Rouge, it happens in Lincoln, Nebraska. Half the guys don't pan out. Don't help. End up elsewhere. Attrition. Whatever. It's 25 college kids. Sometimes they don't have the grades. Sometimes they don't make good decisions off the field. Sometimes they're just not good enough. Sometimes they just want to go home. So, signing day tomorrow, and LSU has some targets that they're going to hope to close on here over the next 48 hours. I will get to some of those. If you heard Billy Embody from 1-3 Sports on the morning show, if you heard Mike Scarborough, who was just on Handy Time about an hour ago, I'll reiterate some of the thoughts they have, kind of give my thoughts on where things stand as the are they still faxing people? Have we checked on that? I think they are. I think they're faxing people. If the fax machines are working tomorrow, they should start rolling in around 7 o'clock. So I'll get to some of those names. Glenn West with us in about 15 minutes. You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show.
This is Hunt Palmer. Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
A third of youth who grow up in foster care are homeless 18 months after aging out of care. But you can rewrite that story. Change a child's story. Become a volunteer today.
Miller Lite has more taste and only 1 more calorie than Michelob Ultra.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
Time doesn't stop, and the world keeps spinning. Community, culture, and communications, the powerful circle that connects us together. We're creating the next evolution, a network built for every possibility, moving faster than ever before, streaming us forward into the future. And the revolution is closer than you think. RTC, ETEL, and Vision.
16 in the NFL continues Saturday when the Patriots host Joe Burrow and the Bengals at noon, and the Steelers host the Raiders at 7:15 p.m. Then it's a Christmas Day tripleheader on Sunday with the Dolphins and the Packers at noon, the Rams and the Broncos at 3:30 p.m., and the Cardinals and the Buccaneers at 7:20 p.m. All here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Planning to talk a little signing day here, LSU prospects wise, and I am when I get through this. But this just came up on my Twitter feed from Steve Robertson, who has done a great job covering the story with Mike Leach. Obviously had a great relationship with Mike Leach, and this has obviously hit him very, very hard. He is there in Starkville. They're having a memorial for Mike Leach today, and man, do they have a long list and distinguished list of speakers for this today. Dr. Mark Keesum is the president of Mississippi State. He'll open before Greg Sankey delivers some remarks right there afterwards. Then Hal Mumme will take the mic. Of course, Hal Mumme goes back to Iowa Wesleyan with Mike Leach, Valdosta State as well, and then was there at Kentucky in 97 and 98. Bob Stoops, who had Mike Leach as his offensive coordinator at Oklahoma, will speak. Lincoln Riley will speak as well. Gardner Minshew, Leach's quarterback from up at Washington State, will speak. Gabe Marks, who played wide receiver at Washington State for Mike Leach, will speak. Will Rogers, Mississippi State quarterback, and Nathaniel Watson, linebacker at Mississippi State right now, will speak. So it is a long list of distinguished names there, from Greg Sankey, Hal Mumme, Bob Stoops, Lincoln Riley, Gardner Minshew, Will Rogers. A lot of very, very familiar names. Certainly an emotional day in Starkville here as they remember Mike Leach up there on campus at Mississippi State. LSU's got a big day coming up tomorrow. You could have as many as 25, 27 players sign with the Tigers tomorrow. There are some that are thought of as a little bit of a question mark at this point, and some that are just simply uncommitted anywhere, and you're just looking around. As far as the high school guys go, Isaac Smith is probably the biggest name to keep an eye on tomorrow. He is the big safety prospect from the state of Mississippi. If you heard Billy this morning on Off the Bench, if you heard Mike Scarborough earlier on Handy Time, if you heard either one of them, things seem to be in a pretty good spot with LSU and Isaac Smith. Now, it is very difficult to get kids out of their home state. And Isaac Smith is a Mississippi kid, and Mississippi State wants him very, very badly. If you look at the top of the state of the Mississippi in the rankings, Ole Miss has 3 of them. One is headed out to Oregon. So of the top players in the state, Isaac Smith's really the last one that Mississippi State's got a shot with. Now, Zach Arnett is new as the head coach there. Obviously, this is a huge priority for him to pull in one of the best defenders in the state, one of the best players in the state. But LSU has put a full court press on there, and we'll see if he becomes a member of this LSU signing class and what's going to be a class that's just got huge numbers in the secondary, which they need because they don't have enough secondary players. And LSU, one way or another, is going to be playing a lot of new guys in the secondary, and I think there's a good chance that a good number of them are going to be freshmen from this class. We'll see if Isaac Smith is one of them. Desmond Ricks is the biggest name. I talked about him yesterday, and I just got done with a segment telling you about how I'm not going to get all caught up 365 days a year with social media posts. But if you follow Desmond Ricks on Instagram, you saw a picture yesterday of him sitting in the south upper of Tiger Stadium in full LSU uniform. That was the only picture that he posted yesterday. Now, he had on a jersey that looked a helmet that looked to be two-toned. He had on the white jersey and the white pants. I didn't love the look, quite frankly, but I'll take him in this class. Says the 97-year-old Hunt Palmer. But yeah, that I'm not gonna try to decipher what the 18-year-old thinking posting on Instagram. Is he thinking, oh man, I'm gonna pull a fast one. I'm going to Florida, but I'm gonna put this LSU picture out, generate some buzz, and then man, I'm gonna pull the switcheroo, just like I pull the hat and then throw it out, skydive out of a plane, pull out a bulldog out of a bag. I can't. That's beyond where I'm going to go in my recruiting interest. But Desmond Ricks is not going to announce tomorrow, so don't hold your breath. He will be the following day, it appears, a Thursday announcement from Desmond Ricks. As far as other potential commitments to LSU, I don't know. There's no time frame on the transfer guys. They're in the portal. They can make their commitment. They've just got to enroll in school. They don't have the parameters around signing letters of intent. They can just make their next move. So could be tomorrow when everybody's jumping in the mix. It could be down the road in January when guys decide what they're going to do. But I mentioned by name yesterday Paris Shand and Jalen Swinson, a couple of defensive linemen from the Pac-12. Shand, an Arizona product, and Swinson, an Oregon product. I said yesterday, and this is based on a lot of information from guys that do recruiting far deeper than I do, LSU's in a great spot for Jalen Swinson. It would be a big surprise if he didn't end up as a Tiger. And Shand is a little more difficult to get a read on because there's no geographical pull here. He's visited Rutgers. He's played at Arizona. He likes LSU. He's been to a visit for Ole Miss. He's all over the place, and he's got Canadian roots. So there's no rhyme or reason as to why. As I mentioned yesterday, this is not Jarrett Bernard Converse coming home. It's not Greg Books or Joe Fouché coming home. It's a guy who just wants to find the right spot. And LSU's made a significant impact there. So that's a very, very good thing as far as the Tigers go. The one hang up here that you're thinking potentially may not end up in this class for LSU has been pretty consistent across the board with everyone. And again, it's not something that I'm going to spend a ton of time dealing with because just let me know when the ink dries. That's kind of the way that I go about it. But it is in the secondary, and it is with Dalen Austin. He's from California. Big-time commitment, a guy that LSU would really, really like to have in this class. Notice, I very rarely going to put must-have. You don't must-have anybody. It's good if you get them. You're still going to fill out a roster if you don't. And I don't know that Dalen Austin is going to be the difference between LSU winning 3 national titles and trying to cling its way into the Texas Bowl. But he's been looking out elsewhere on the West Coast, maybe potentially Oregon. Not going to get too deep into the weeds on it, but you should keep an eye out for that as of tomorrow, and we'll keep you posted on this for sure. There's been some back and forth on whether or not Jalen Lee, the Live Oak product, is a guy that LSU should take. He has not necessarily set the world on fire in Gainesville, but he's a Louisiana product. He's in the transfer portal. I'd take him every day and twice on Sunday because you need bodies at defensive tackle. You can't send two guys out there to continue to play as many snaps as LSU asked its defensive tackles to play in this game. So I will let Billy Embody, Shea Dixon, Chad Simmons, Mike Scarborough, Glenn West, Sonny Shipp, the whole lot of guys chase this whole thing around for the next 15, 18, 24, 20, 30 hours. I'll just kind of relay kind of what I've seen and what I've heard. But I will tell you that the guys at On3, I've been a part of that website now for a couple of months. I'm going to do some baseball stuff with them. And I've been seeing what they've put out. They've got $1 a month, right? $1 for the year. Right now, there is a remarkable amount of information that these recruiting guys put out. It's not a job that I want necessarily. Working the phones, text messaging 17-year-olds, trying to get them to give you a good, straight answer. People being coy, wanting to have their moment, all that kind of stuff. But these guys are great at it. LSU's got some really, really good guys in the market to cover it. And certainly you can find that across the internet. But I love my guys over there at On3, where they've kind of welcomed me into their family. So that'll be kind of my my take on recruiting as it is entering tomorrow. We want to start today with football. Still got a ton to get to over the next hour and a half. I'm excited to finish off this hour. Going to tell you about LSU having 4 guys in the collegiate baseball All-American teams and what the rest of the league kind of looks like, plus LSU number 1 in the country by collegiate baseball. Matt McMahon had his coach's show last night with Chris Blair at TJ Ribbs. Going to go through some sound from that as he talks about Adam Miller, talks about Cam Hayes, a little bit about what LSU has done to improve itself over the last 6 weeks or so. Unfortunately, Pels lose. It's their 4th in a row. We'll talk about that in the second hour. And Sharif Ishak going to join us from WDSU. See if he's ready to say the Saints can make the playoffs. I'm not, but let's see if Sharif is ready to do that. And we always finish things up with Take It or Leave It. So stick with us right here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is on Palmer. In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
We get it done with strength, commitment, dedication, grit.
Let's go, defense!
We get it done with passion for our fans and love for our community. We are the Tigers. Get it done.
Let the values of the purple and gold be in your starting lineup this season. And as always, get it done.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $10,000 off MSRP on all new 2022 Black Widow Jeep Gladiators in stock. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty and free delivery. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
There's nothing better than tailgating, but it can be a lot of work. So why do it yourself when you don't have to? Let Revelry Sports and Entertainment set up your luxury tailgate on campus. Order what you want and just show up to party. Book your tailgate today at revelryteam.com. Revelry Sports, the official tailgate partner of LSU Athletics.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed.
Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Tuesday's AFR, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Sean Salisbury joins us to talk NFL playoff races. We'll recap Pels Bucks. Join us Tuesday, AFR 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're listening to Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Moving right along here on a Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, each and every Tuesday. Visit with Glenn West of Go 247. Glenn joins us now. Glenn, how are you?
I'm doing great, Hunt. Just hunkering down in this cold, cold weather. How about you?
I'm not really excited about the Arctic blast, if we're being quite honest. But, I save all my complaining of all year for weeks like this because I don't do any complaining in August. September, if it's 105, that's fine. I'm just fine with it. The Arctic blast, not really for me. Speaking of hunkering down, where do you have more responsibility tomorrow? Signing day with the crew over there at Go 247, or more at the PMAC with East Tennessee State?
I would definitely lean towards the signing day.
Okay.
We are definitely a recruiting site first, so that will garner 110% of our attention until about 7 o'clock at night.
That's the way it goes. I've been in those shoes time before, and I'm not really all that jealous, to be quite frank. What do you make of this first full signing class to this point that Brian Kelly and his staff have put together?
Yeah, lots of potential. You can see that there's a concerted effort to get younger at a number of positions. Actually, I wrote about this week, but just the additions that they've made in the secondary, particularly at the cornerback spot, you can tell they really want to get kind of a youth movement in here and really start to build that foundation in the back half of the defense with the signing class they have coming in this year. They have currently 5 committed cornerbacks, with the latest being Javian Toviano out of Texas, and they're hoping for some really good news come Thursday when 5-star Desmond Ricks makes his decision as well. So you can really tell they're loading up, and they're putting a lot of trust in the player development of their coaching staff at these positions, and I think it's a worthwhile gamble. I mean, you have some risk here with getting so many young guys in here at once, but the way that LSU has proven to be able to turn over that talent in a very short amount of time, I think has spoken really well to a lot of these recruits, and that they could potentially see the playing field early in their careers.
What do you make of the way that Brian Kelly has kind of approached the transfer portal to this point in year two?
Yeah, they're being very calculated. I mean, I think that's much as a given. They've just gotten one commitment so far out of the portal. I think that certainly shows that LSU is trying to be, put their freshman class first, and then maybe dip into the portal as they see fit once everything becomes official. So that's a very smart way of doing it, if you ask me. I think LSU is certainly in the mix for a number of guys. There's a common theme here of Louisiana players that LSU has really attacked here over the last couple of weeks, and the addition of Aaron Anderson can't go unspoken. Just what he can do in the immediate term for your special teams in terms of kick and punt return. Just a really, really great pickup there out of the portal. But certainly LSU is going to be in a position where they have to evaluate here after their early signing period, and you could see some more movement here in the portal after Wednesday.
If I have to sit through 12 more games of fair catches next year, I'm going to lose it. Somebody get back there and make a play with the football. Oh, it's LSU. Yeah. They ought to have somebody back there that can do that. Let's change gears here to basketball, Glenn. 10-1, playing some close games against some teams that we don't think are very, very good. What do you think is more important, the fact that they're letting teams like this hang around late in games, or that they're making plays over the last 3 minutes to win the games?
Well, that second part is extremely important, especially if you think you're going to be in some tight games come SEC play. But there's still a lot of work to be done. I mean, I think through 7 or 8 games there, you really hung your hat on defense, and really the last couple that really can't be said. I mean, they gave up 81 points to Winthrop team that it really wasn't all that great offensively coming in. They were fine, but you allow 18 threes in the last 2 games. Their teams are shooting 44% in that span, so they've really got to lock in on the perimeter again here defensively. And you just got to get better all around. I mean, I think what you've seen out of Cam Hayes in the starting lineup is encouraging. You got to get Adam Miller back on the same on the right track with shooting the ball. And there's just a lot of holes right now that I think they're still trying to fill, and trying to find some consistency with this group. And it's not an ideal scenario heading into SEC play. I think a lot of people had hoped that maybe they would use these non-conference games and have a better identity at this point. But there's some signs that things are going to start getting better here pretty soon, and you just got to hope that consistency starts to show here in the first couple of games of SEC play.
You think what Cam Hayes has done over the last week and a half is sustainable for conference play?
I do. I mean, he's a really just polished offensive player. He's got a really nice stroke. He just never seems out of control, which is something that I think is always a great indication of a really good guard. Is that they can kind of control the offense without rushing and without really kind of getting ahead of themselves. And so I do think that he's about 6'2". He's long. He's done some really nice things defensively in his starts, but he's been a really great player for LSU these last couple games since entering the starting lineup. And we just actually got done talking with Coach McMahon, and he was one of 2 players, him and Derek Fountain, as kind of the quote-unquote surprises that he's had in terms of just guys who maybe weren't at the top of the depth chart to start this fall, and have really climbed their way up because of just their effort and their consistency on both ends of the floor.
In your interviews with the players week to week, whether it's post-game or just midweek when you all chat with them before practice, what's the demeanor of the team like as they sit here, at this point in the season?
Yeah, I would say focused. I think they're still trying to find an identity. I think that's probably one of the biggest things. They're still looking for that vocal leader, that vocal presence to really kind of uplift them in times of adversity. They've had it at moments with KJ Williams. Derek Fountain's another guy who's been a very vocal leader so far, but I think it's still kind of the feeling out process for this group. There's still some on-court chemistry stuff that I think has to be sorted out. KJ Williams only getting 3 shots in the first half, for example, against Winthrop. That's something that has to change, and you saw that in the second half with him scoring 16 or 18 points there in that final 20 minutes, which was extremely important for LSU to pull out that win. So you just got to know where guys like the ball. You've got to be able to find the hot hand. LSU's done that at times, but they just haven't been able to really put it together yet. And that's something that they really, really need to figure out here in the early part of their conference schedule.
Is there a specific aspect of this team on the floor that you think could be in trouble when conference play starts?
I think the first thing that comes to mind is defensive rebounding, and that was something that Coach McMahon told us today, is that they have to be better at that. They've started to get through to the players, I think, a little bit, particularly the guards, who they really need to crash the boards and help, KJ, help Derek, help whoever's coming off the bench there. Just they need more on the defensive glass. They've been out-rebounded by a lot of these non-conference opponents, and that's not a recipe for success when you're going up against, the Oscar Tshiebwes of the world in Kentucky and just, teams that are really, really highly regarded in the college basketball world this year.
Glenn, have a great Christmas weekend. When we come back next week, we'll talk a little Citrus Bowl.
All right, you too. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it.
He's Glenn West, Go247. You can follow all your recruiting and team coverage stuff over there at 247. Go247. That's we appreciate Glenn for jumping aboard each and every Tuesday. We'll hear for a little bit from Matt McMahon, LSU head basketball coach, coming up here at the top of hour number 2. Got some sound from his coach's show last night where he and Chris Blair sat down for an hour and just kind of kicked some things around. And one of the sound bites that I'll play for you at 2 o'clock is talking about some of the things that they have improved, but in the course of improving them, some things have gotten a little bit worse. And Matt McMahon lays out some great statistics there. He also talks about Adam Miller and the shooting funk he's kind of slipped into. I'll give my thoughts on that a little bit later. I wanted to leave a little bit of extra time at the end of this hour here, which we have. And I want to talk a little bit of baseball with you. Collegiate baseball came out with this first, second, and third team All-Americans. I want to tell you where the Tigers fall there. LSU number 1 in that poll. Get you some thoughts from the SEC there as well. It also sets the table for one of the potentially best weekends in the history of the new box. We'll talk about that. Close out hour number 1 on the Hunt Palmer Show.
Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Santa Barkley is coming to town, and he's delivering $20 million in gifts this holiday season to all FanDuel customers. Doesn't matter if you've been naughty or nice, St. Chuck has something for everyone. Just check your FanDuel app for no-sweat same-game parlays, bonuses, and all sorts of stuff that'll fill you with holiday cheer. If you're new to FanDuel, now's the perfect time to remember that promo code 1045ESPN. When you sign up, use that promo code 1045ESPN. The app's easy to use. They're always hooking you up with great promotions, and when you win, you'll get paid instantly. So see for yourself why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook and get in on the holiday spirit with $20 million in gifts from Santa Barkley. Must be 21 and present in Louisiana. Prize total dependent on customer participation. Wager requirements apply. Gifts awarded as non-withdrawable site credit from free bets. See FanDuel.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-770-STOP.
Our listeners fire up their opinions on the JimsFirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the JimsFirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Every business is different, but B1 Bank knows that every business owner has similar needs. From streamlining accounts receivables to maintaining access to working capital, a trusted bank is your best asset for staying on top of day-to-day finances and planning for future business growth. At B1 Bank, I know I have access to commercial banking experts who care about the needs of my business and can guide me to accomplish my goals. B1 Bank knows that managing your business isn't simple, but they can help you make it uncomplicated.
Winter can be magical. The Mercedes-Benz Winter Event is here, and there's no better time to check out our new Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge inventory. We have the vehicles that can make your holiday extraordinary. See all the latest technological features on the newest models during our Mercedes-Benz Winter Event. Shop our best of the best award-winning dealership. Visit mbobr.com.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital.
Jimmy Otta and Mike Delicano for the Tuesday evening edition of Game Time, presented by Bet Rivers. We're at Mike Anderson's on Lee, just off of Nicholson. That's Game Time, presented by Bet Rivers, 6 to 8 p.m. on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
So collegiate baseball came out with its initial top 25 for preseason, or college baseball. When the paper's called collegiate baseball, I figure we know what we're talking about. And they also came out with their first, second, and third team All-Americans. LSU pretty highly decorated, according to collegiate baseball. First of all, literally, LSU ranked #1 in the preseason poll. Not totally surprising to me. On the first team All-American preseason list, Dylan Cruz in the outfield, Tommy White at DH, and Paul Skeens at utility. Skeens obviously pitching as well as swinging the bat. And then Trey Morgan, a second team All-American. So you've got 4 All-Americans, first or second team in the lineup preseason. That, of course, doesn't include third-year starting shortstop Jordan Thompson, star at the end of last year Josh Pearson, former SEC RBI leader Gavin Dugas. The list goes on and on. But Dylan Cruz, Tommy White, Paul Skeens, first team, Trey Morgan, second team. And LSU ranked #1 in the nation preseason. I know you all know this by now. You don't need me to sit here and tell you this. This is perhaps the greatest collection of individual talent this program has ever produced in a single season. Doesn't mean squat when you get to June. But on its face, when you look at where some of these guys will be drafted, some of the postseason accolades, some of the accolades they've already got, these guys are already All-Americans and Team USA players. Freshman of the year, nationally, 2 of them. It's remarkable to think about, and they're being honored with that. And I thought that LSU would be right there with Tennessee for #1 in the nation. Turns out, collegiate baseball's got Tennessee ranked 5th. They've got some work to do offensively. Not on the mound. Chase Dolander for the Vols, he's their ace. He's a first-team All-American preseason. Chase Burns, he's their #2. He's a first-team preseason All-American on the mound. And Drew Beam, their #3, is a second-team All-American. So their weekend rotation right now over in Knoxville has Chase Dolander, Chase Burns, and Drew Beam, 2 preseason first-team All-Americans and 1 second-team All-American in the preseason. Tennessee comes to the box in April. When you pair Dolander, Burns, and Beam on the mound for Tennessee that weekend, very likely, with Cruz, White, Skeens, Morgan, Pearson, Thompson, Dugas, Neal, Milazzo, whoever you want to throw out there. You talk about Paxton Kling, Gavin Guidry, whatever. There are going to be 70 scouts here that weekend. And the box's attendance numbers have been juiced because SEC Network has been such a convenience for the college baseball fan, but also a massive detriment to fans going to the box because you can watch every game on your phone. Used to, none of them were on TV. You want to watch the Tigers, you got to go. Got to go to the box. Not the case anymore. That weekend, they ought to draw 27,000 actual, I would think. That's going to be as good an atmosphere for a regular season weekend as the box has ever produced, the new one. You've had Florida come in here number 1. There was a number 1 versus number 2 in 13 with Nola and that was 15? 15. That was 15 with Lang and Bregman and those guys. It was 1 versus 2 with A&M. That was incredible. I was able to make it for that one. Cal State Fullerton came in here for a non-conference weekend right before SEC play started that LSU swept. That was in 2012. That was awesome. There have been some really good ones. That weekend is going to have 7 first-round picks eventually out there. Not in the next draft, but total. Dollander and Cruz, the odds-on favorites to go 1 and 2 in this draft. Skeens pitching. I mean, that is going to be as highly thought of a regular season weekend as I can remember. Hanny can probably go a little deeper than me on that, but as I can remember. Wanted to look at a couple more names on this list. Hurston Waldrop, y'all recall, he pitched for Southern Miss in the Marble game against LSU in Hattiesburg in the regional. He's transferred to Florida, and he's a first-team preseason All-American on this list. He was absolutely outstanding in that game. Just LSU couldn't hit him. The splitter was unbelievable. He had some great ride on the fastball, and he is going to be a huge piece to this Florida pitching staff, likely their number 1 coming into the season. They've also got Wyatt Langford as a first-teamer over there in Gainesville, but LSU doesn't play Florida this year in the regular season. So a little bit of a bummer there, or maybe catching a break if you want to look at it that way. As far as LSU players that didn't quite make the cut, I thought maybe a chance Josh Pearson could sneak his way onto a third-team preseason All-American. I mean, that was really impressive last month and change for him playing outfield for LSU. Once they inserted him into the lineup every day, they got better offensively. And they certainly needed him to pick up some slack when Barry got hurt and missed one weekend and was right-handed a little bit. Not that he didn't hit right-handed. He actually hit more than we thought right-handed. But Pearson was awesome late in the season. So I'm not going to spend a ton of time in early, mid-December talking baseball. You'll know I would like to. But it's not – there are some instances, and I raise my hand. Like, I'm self-aware. Those of us that sit in this chair have a rooting interest in LSU. And at times, we might get a little bit out over our skis with optimism, depending on the sport, depending on the time. It could happen with the Saints, could happen with the Pelicans. It's just the nature of what we do. But this is not a Baton Rouge media concoction here, that this baseball team's got a chance to be really special. It's simply not. Kendall Rogers came on this show, said LSU will be my preseason national championship pick. Collegiate baseball, independently of all the guys over at D1, ranks LSU number 1, puts 3 of their players on the first-team All-America list, another one on the second team. It's universally looked at as the best team in the country. They've got question marks. I don't know what the rotation looks like. I don't know how the back end of the bullpen shake up. I don't know who's playing second. I don't know who's catching most of the time. I don't know exactly who's going to be in left field. There are question marks they got to figure out, and they will. But the anticipation level, the excitement level, the hype level, all that stuff, that's not manufactured in Baton Rouge. That's everybody who watches the sport. So that's really, really exciting. SEC had 6 teams in the top 10 of this poll, 12 in the top 50. That's It's the best conference in college baseball, and it's only going to get stronger with the portal because the Tommy Whites and Jacob Berries and Hurston Waldrops of the world are going to find their way to the SEC. LSU was in on Kansas's All-American second baseman. He's in Knoxville now. That's the way the game's played. That's your herd. Going to be UCLA's ace. He's in Baton Rouge. SEC is just a powerhouse because of what you can do with the transfer portal and name, image, and likeness that they can't do really anywhere else. That's it for first hour here on a Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Take a timeout when we come back. Pels lost their fourth in a row. I want to touch on that. We'll talk with Sharif Ishak, Saints and Pelicans at 2:30. We'll have Sports Center Matt McMahon sound from the Matt McMahon Show last night. Come back with us for hour 2. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Bayou Ford has $10,000 off MSRP on a new 2022 Ford F-150, plus no payments for 90 days and 2.9% APR for 72 months. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
My dad just really enjoyed his life, and he enjoyed smoking cigars and thought he was invincible. My stepdad quit smoking, and he really felt like he was in the clear. Sorry. I wish they would have been screened annually. It's not just you affect, it's your entire family.
For more information on Ochsner's free smoking cessation program and to see if you qualify for early lung screenings, visit ochsner.org/quit.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
Time doesn't stop, and the world keeps spinning. Community, culture, and communications, the powerful circle that connects us together. We're creating the next evolution, a network built for every possibility, moving faster than ever before, streaming us forward into the future. And the revolution is closer than you think. RTC, ETEL, and Vision are now Rev. New name, same company.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
All right, let's say ah. Where'd my spotlight go? Super weird, but we can take care of it.
Get in and get better at Patient Plus.
Is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski reports billionaire mortgage lender Matt Ishbia is finalizing a purchase of the NBA's Phoenix Suns and WNBA's Phoenix Mercury for a record price of $4 billion. The deal will end the tumultuous tenure of owner Robert Sarver. Confirmation from Eagles coach Nick Sirianni today that quarterback Jalen Hurts has a sprained right shoulder, but he has not yet been ruled out Saturday against Dallas. Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott played outstanding on Sunday against the Jaguars, and they can win in the playoffs with him playing like that, according to team owner Jerry Jones. That's what he told 105.3 The Fan today. There is plenty to believe in when it comes to Prescott, despite that rough performance on Sunday, says ESPN's Mike Tannenbaum.
I think you can win a lot of games with Dak Prescott with his arms, his legs. Now, last month he's made some really poor decisions, which is uncharacteristic, and I'm hoping and assuming he's going to get back to playing at a representative level. I think they can make some noise in the postseason.
Mike Tannenbaum on Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max. The Jets again will start quarterback Zach Wilson on Thursday night against the Jaguars. Mike White has still not been cleared for contact.
Coming up Tuesday, with both Steph Curry and Anthony Davis expected to miss extended time, which injury will be more costly for their team? Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max, Tuesday, 6 a.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, ESPNU.
Now, Hunt Palmer. Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour 2 on a Tuesday here, Hunt Palmer Show. Appreciate you making us a small part of your day right here, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Got a lot to get to here in the second hour. Sharif Ishaq at the bottom of the hour talking Saints and Pels. Last night, first of all, tonight we're back in action at Pluckers on Nicholson. Sports Trivia tonight, 8:30. You're watching some hoops, watching some bowl action, enjoying some great drinks, great food, and playing some sports trivia. If you're looking for something to do this evening, get a team together. Come on out to Pluckers Sports Trivia, win some gift cards, have some fun. Nicholson location at 8:30. We were off last week because of Pluckers' holiday party, but we're back in action this week. Very much looking forward to getting back out there to Pluckers. Matt McMahon's show was last night over at TJ Ribs. He and Chris Blair talking Tiger basketball as they do each and every Monday. And he had some things to say that I took some interest in and wanted to get to play for you guys and give my thoughts on them. The first was on LSU and how they were turning the basketball over early in the season and have not been doing that of late.
I've been very pleased with the consistency on the offensive end here over the last 3 games, and I think that bodes well for us moving forward. If you look at the first 8 games of the year, we had 10 more turnovers than assists, which is brutal. Last 3 games, 52 assists, only 28 turnovers, so we're plus 24 there. Single-digit average in turnovers, and just had our season high 19 assists on the year against Winthrop. So I think you'll continue to see us keep getting better and better every time out because the guys are bought in and work extremely hard every day in practice and want to improve.
This is something I talked about a little bit last week. LSU is going to have to be very, very good at taking care of the basketball because if LSU plays every team in the SEC straight up, they're going to lose more than they win by probably a significant margin. I think they're limited in their talent in that way. But if they take care of the basketball and maximize their possessions, I think their coach is pretty good, and I think they've got a couple of guys that can score. But you can't create live ball turnovers where other teams get going in transition. You can't have too many empty possessions where you don't get a shot. And of course, that's what turnovers do lead to. So the turnover stat is going to be huge for LSU moving forward. You heard Matt McMahon say they've made some strides in what they're doing from a turnover perspective. That's going to have to be key. And it's not something they should struggle with too much. You've got a senior point guard in Juice Hill. You've got a third-year player in Adam Miller. You've got a senior in Trey Hannibal who's handling the ball a lot. You've got a third-year college player in Cam Hayes handling the ball a lot. You've got a fifth-year senior in KJ Williams who they run a lot of their offense through. Derek Fountain is a third-year college player. This is a team that's pretty old and should be able to take care of the basketball far more often than not. You're not leaning on a bunch of young freshmen who the game's moving faster than it's ever moved, or they get tired, or they don't understand. Like, no. You've got old players. You should take care of the basketball, and LSU should do that this year. And the good news is that they're doing a pretty good job of that over the last week and a half. One of the guys who's really come on that we've talked about a good bit over the last week and a half has been Cam Hayes, the NC State transfer who's moved into the starting lineup and really kind of carried them at times over the last 2 weeks. Matt McMahon talked about Cam Hayes and what has made him into the impact guy that he's been over the last few games.
There are a lot of things there. I think most importantly, the credit goes to him for all the hard work he's put in. As I tell you all the time, it's amazing. This is how he's practiced for the last month, and it's carried over to the game floor. It's enabled us to play more efficiently offensively because it adds a second ball handler and playmaker on the court. He's also really helped our defensive rebounding. We really struggled early in the year to defensive rebound at the guard position. And starting with that Wake Forest game, he's rebounded at a high level, which in turn allows us to start our fast break even quicker. And then he's shooting the ball with great confidence, and he's taking high-quality shots. So he's been our most efficient player here of late, and really happy for him because he's put in the work to make the improvement necessary to have this type of impact on our team.
Look, this will be the most obvious thing I say on today's show. Just the way it goes. But it is just something that I think is relevant here. In year one, with an entirely new roster, there's going to have to be a buy-in. And this is pretty simple. Matt McMahon's going to ask the guys that go in to fill a role to do something that he asked them to do. He asked Cam Hayes to work hard in practice and help the guys rebound. The guard rebounding was terrible. They were getting whipped on the defensive glass. They needed to fix it. Cam Hayes came in and got some rebounds. And guess what? He went from playing 2 minutes in the opener to being a starter on the team. If that's not a pretty powerful message, I don't know what is. Nobody's earned anything here. Everybody's new. Either you're new to LSU or you're new to me. So you want to play? Do what I tell you. Cam Hayes, nice job rebounding. Go out there to start. And he's found something. Again, that's so obvious. Every team, the coach asks you to do a job, and if you do it, that's great. If you don't, you get benched. But that's the message that I'm getting here. And when you're trying to instill a culture and you're trying to build something from literally the ground floor, that is something that you need, and that is very, very helpful. Now, we understand that Adam Miller has been in a significant drought shooting the basketball. Of course, right when I go to heap praise on him and saying, hey, he is a better offensive player than maybe I thought, he is going to be able to carry this team, and he's going to be good for 17, 18 points a night. He's a dead-eye shooter. He's going to stretch the floor. All of a sudden, boom, he goes 1 for 6 from 3 against Wake. Boom, he goes 0 for 8 from 3 against North Carolina Central. Boom, he goes 2 for 10 from 3 against Winthrop. That is 3 for 24. You want to bring it back to the UT Arlington game? You're talking about 5 for 31 from 3. It's been a really, really tough slog. Hadn't stopped from shooting them. 7 against UT Arlington, 6 against Wake, 8 against North Carolina Central, 10 against Winthrop. He's still putting them up. And I want to be abundantly clear about something here. Abundantly clear. I'm well aware that I was nowhere near a good enough player to play college basketball or get a single recruiting letter. I'm perfectly well aware that I can't speak to the level of basketball that these guys are playing when I draw on my personal experience. It's not like the morning show where they can draw on NFL stuff and college stuff and national championships and playing with All-Americans and playing Bama, Georgia, Florida. Like, I can't do that. I know that. But every once in a while, I think there is maybe like 4 times a year, there may be something that I witness in the sports that I'm covering where I can draw on some personal experience. And with Adam Miller in this shooting drought that he's going in right now, it reminds me of my senior year in high school. I was playing baseball, and I went through like an 0 for 20-something. And when I say I was going through like an 0 for 20-something, the teams in our district were terrible. It was these small towns, bad teams, awful pitching, and I couldn't get a hit to save my life. Grounding out, popping up, taking called third strikes. Again, none of this is relevant to the guys facing Chase Dolander come April. None of it's relevant to the guys Paul Skeens face. I'm not trying to indicate that I have that, but I do remember very distinctly every single time during this stretch I went up to bat, I was thinking about how I hadn't gotten a hit in 3 weeks. Every time. And you got to think when Adam Miller goes 3 for 24 from three-point range, he's thinking every time he takes the shot, man, I hadn't made one of these in a while. Man, I'm not shooting very good. Like, that's a tough mental hill to climb. I don't know Adam Miller, but you got to think that that's on his mind. He's got to see a couple more go down. And it was good that he hit 2 in the game against Winthrop because it was getting ugly. But they've got to have him shoot the ball. They are not going to be able to play offense at the level they need to play offense if Adam Miller gets gun shy. I'm not suggesting he needs to routinely go 1 of 14 if he's really not feeling it. But he can't just pack it in because they don't have enough scores for him to not shoot. So he saw a couple go in against Winthrop. Hopefully he hits 4 or 5 of them in the game tomorrow night. We'll talk about that tomorrow. But Matt McMahon did talk about Adam Miller and how it's not just about shooting. He's actually doing a lot of different things on the floor.
On Saturday.
I certainly hope so. He finished the game in strong fashion, was able to get freed up off some different screening actions and stepped up and knocked down some big shots on assisted baskets. I had another one where Derek Fountain set a great screen for him in transition, and he got to the basket for a little layup. Sometimes gets your confidence going there, seeing the ball go through the hoop. But as we talk about with all our players, I think in today's basketball world, all anyone looks at for the most part is to grab the box score and how many points, how many shots. But it's such a small percentage of what we need from our players. Obviously, 50% of the game is the defensive end of the floor. And then how else do you impact winning? Screening, sprinting your lanes in transition, your cuts, your movement without the ball, your rebounding, all those things. So I don't ever want a player to just be married to what did I shoot from the floor that game and that determined whether they had an impact or not. There are a lot of ways you can impact the game. We talked about it with his performance at Wake Forest. Because of the way they face guarded and denied him, it opened up a lot of spacing on the floor for Juice to get to the rim for layups, for KJ's pick and pop threes. So it's not all about points and shot attempts. There are a lot of ways to impact the game.
You know, I thought and Adam Miller, certainly, they still got to respect it because he's got the ability to go off and hit you 5-7 threes if you don't pay attention. So hopefully Adam Miller gets things cooking in tomorrow. Last piece of sound here from the Matt McMahon show last night. And this is something that I think a lot of people that have watched this team over the last couple of weeks have noticed this. I certainly have. They have done an exceptional job of drawing up and executing plays on baseline out of bounds and sideline out of bounds. Call those blobs, baseline out of bounds, blob plays. And they've been very, very good at them this year.
Situations.
Oh, thanks a lot, Chris. I've been really proud of our players. They deserve all the credit. They're the ones that have to go out and execute. Move the ball, set the screens, and ultimately hit the shots. But it is a huge area of emphasis for us. Much like football, we look at it, we have offense, we have defense, and we have special teams. And those special team situations we think can end up being the difference in winning and losing. We track everything we do there on out of bounds under, both offensively and defensively. Same for side out of bounds. Free throw box out opportunities. We talked about that. Wake Forest. We didn't make many free throws, but we had 3 huge offensive rebounds on our missed free throws that led to 7 points. In a game you win by 2,
it's big.
It's huge. And so our players have done a really nice job of buying into those special teams and want that to continue to be an area of strength for us.
That's the same way Will Wade termed it with special teams. He called it that, and Matt McMahon feels the same way, and they've been excellent at that. And if you can steal – I'll tell you who's really good at it is Mike White, who was at Florida and now he's at Georgia. If you can get 6 points at a baseline out of bounds, sideline out of bounds, that's 6 points in a Southeastern Conference game is huge. Will Wade used to study the guys on the tip-off to try to steal an extra possession to just get one extra shot. League games can be really, really tight, and LSU's executed very, very well on baseline out-of-bounds plays, which has been very cool to watch. So, Tigers back in action tomorrow against East Tennessee State, last non-conference tune-up where they fired up an SEC play. When we come back, Pels lost their 4th in a row. We'll briefly touch on that, then we'll get to Sharif Ishak at 2:30. You're listening to 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
I tell you every day to go to BayouFord.com. And I tell you about the inventory. I tell you about the deals. I tell you about the 1,000,000-mile powertrain warranty. One of the other things that's on the website, and they've got a tab specifically designed for it, is the Black Widows. Black Widow trucks can't find everywhere. Bayou Ford is an exclusive relationship with the SCA Performance on their Ford Black Widow trucks. And Bayou Ford is the largest volume SCA Ford dealer in the state of Louisiana. It's one of the largest in the country. So if you're interested in a Black Widow truck, go to the website, BayouFord.com, and search the new inventory. Click on it right there, and they'll bring it right up for you. They've got F-150 SCA Black Widow right there. It's a red one. Got another one there that's in white. Got another one there that's in gray. You got all the pricing, all the Carfax. Maybe you want exactly what's right there. Maybe you want to customize a vehicle. Don't settle. They can do it for you at Bayou Ford. The website's BayouFord.com. Every new purchase with a 1,000,000-mile powertrain warranty, you will have it for the life of that vehicle. And if you're interested in that Black Widow, check it out. The website's BayouFord.com. Bayou Ford, where they're going to do right by you.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
16 in the NFL continues Saturday when the Patriots host Joe Burrow and the Bengals at noon, and the Steelers host the Raiders at 7:15 p.m. Then it's a Christmas Day tripleheader on Sunday with the Dolphins and the Packers at noon, the Rams and the Broncos at 3:30 p.m., and the Cardinals and the Buccaneers at 7:20 p.m. All here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're listening to Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Sharif Ishak with me in 10 minutes. We'll go a little deeper into the Pels 4-game losing streak. Pels dropped one in the blender last night to the Milwaukee Bucks. 128-119 was the final. One of the things that struck me about this one is it wasn't as if the Pelicans did not give the Bucks their best shot. In some senses, they gave them a really good shot. Jonas Valanciunas, 7 for 10 from 3. CJ, who's been struggling for a little bit, got it in gear and made 6 threes. You shot 40% from 3. Pretty good. 43% from the floor. You know, it wasn't a disastrous performance by any stretch, but the Bucks were just the better team. They created easier shots. They shot 56%. Antetokounmpo goes for 42 points. Drew hits a huge shot late, and Pels just couldn't get over the hump late in the game. So you lose the game, even though I thought that the Pels played pretty well in the game. One thing that I did not notice watching the game, but was brought to my attention by Mason Ginsberg, who covers the Pels for Boot Crew Media, and he did an awesome job on his Twitter feed for those of you looking for your Pels information. He took some screenshots in the last 5 minutes of the game. Crunch time. And the Bucks put Brook Lopez on Herb Jones and just did not guard Herb Jones. Used Brook Lopez to cut off Zion drives, to stop all penetration, to help on Valanciunas. They just did not guard Herb Jones. And Herb's like a 32% three-point shooter in his career. Was an okay shooter at Alabama, has done an okay job in the NBA, but he's someone that the Bucks didn't fear. And so now you're essentially playing kind of 4-on-5. If you take Herb Jones out, he's just standing on the three-point line, and nobody's guarding him. So you've got a guy in Zion Williamson who makes his living going to the rim, and he's got a 7-footer with no defensive responsibility right in his way. That's something that Willie Green's going to have to look at and make an adjustment on, because that's something that the teams in the league will look at and will employ. And if you're going to have Herb Jones out there in late game situations, they're not going to respect him to shoot the basketball. You can't have that. This is a deal, and I'm not going to get too deep into X's and O's with the Pels. I don't think that's what everybody's dying to hear right now. But I will offer this perspective. We were really hot on the Pels when they got those wins against the Suns last weekend. Man, first place in the West, swept the Suns, doing it without some of your best players. Herb's going to come back. B.I.'s going to come back. Man, this is really, really good. All of a sudden, you look up, and you've lost 4 in a row. Standings look a little bit different than they did. You're now looking up at the Grizzlies, looking up at the Nuggets, looking up at the Suns. You're in 4th. But it's just a long year. And I don't think anybody anticipated that the Pelicans were going to run wild. What concerns me a little bit, but not a lot, just a little bit, is that the Pels aren't proven. And last year, the Bulls weren't proven. And y'all know by now, I catch a lot of stray Bears, Bulls, and Blackhawks stuff because of the people that I follow to get Cubs information on Twitter. Some of the radio that I listen to. And they were really high on the Bulls last year. They thought, man, this team is really good. They went and signed DeMar DeRozan. Everybody thought that was a bad sign, but he's playing great. And Zach LaVine's as good an athlete as there is in the league. And then all of a sudden you look up, and it totally fell apart on Chicago. They won one playoff game. And you don't figure that's going to happen to the Bucks, to the Celtics, the Grizzlies, the Suns. Those teams have more skins on the wall than this Pelicans group. So I don't think the bottom's going to fall out. In fact, I think they're going to get better. But over the course of a long season, when you deal, especially in baseball and basketball, you just have bad stretches. And this goes back to that point I always bring up, why college football kind of drives me nuts at times, because you're penalized so harshly for your bad stretches that they take your goals off the table. And it creates a ton of drama in the regular season, but I'd rather there be more drama late in the season and into the playoffs than eliminating it a quarter of the way through the year, halfway through the year. The Pels are going to be fine. They've got superstar talent, elite depth, youth. They've just got to play a little better than they did last night, especially on the defensive end, where they kind of let the Bucks do too much. And the Bucks are better. Bucks are the best record in the NBA now. Half a game better than the Celtics. And so you don't figure you're going to dominate the Bucks week in and week out, game in and game out. And you did put up a good fight. You had some of your guys really step up and shine. But this is just a bump. And I'll get Sharif's thoughts on what the Pels need to do to kind of shake it, get out of it. You're looking at the schedule right now. You got San Antonio, Oklahoma City, Indiana coming up, which are manageable. You're done with Phoenix. Milwaukee's in the rearview mirror. Time to start socking away a few more wins. I want the spring to be really fun talking about the Pelicans. But we're going to talk about the Pelicans when they're very relevant. I thought they certainly were last week. I think they are right now. I think they just ran into some really good teams and haven't finished games. Should have won the Saturday game against Phoenix. But you got to get BI back. The quotes have been a little concerning. The progress has been a little concerning. That's a guy that's got to come back. I think they're going to be fine. But it was a lot more fun to talk about them when they were in first place atop the conference and winners of 7 straight. Now you look up and they've lost 4 in a row. Got to get it righted, and that starts with a game against San Antonio coming up on Thursday. So the Saints are back. They got a chance to make the playoffs, right? Is that what we're supposed to talk about? Not in my eyes, but maybe Sharif feels that way. We'll ask him next on Hunt Palmer Show.
Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
LWCC is Louisiana loyal. They're elevating and celebrating champions of Louisiana each and every day here on the Hunt Palmer Show. Mimosa Handcrafted. Madeline Ellis's passion is this month's champion of Louisiana. Madeline was a landscape architect. Her husband Dawson said, stop doing that. Do what you love. Mimosa Handcrafted. So Madeline did. And now they're in a brick and mortar. Their first one at 541 South Eugene, right across from Red Stick Reeds. And what's so cool about Mimosa Handcrafted is that they donate 1% of every sale through Goods for Good, a campaign that allows customers personally to select from a list of charitable causes: Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Mental Health Association for Greater Baton Rouge, doing great things for those in need in our community. And that's what the Champion of Louisiana program is all about over at LWCC. They want to elevate and celebrate people, nonprofits, entities that are doing great things. Go to lwcc.com/champions, lwcc.com/champions to nominate a champion for Louisiana so that we can tell their story right here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. In December, so proud to tell you about Madeline Ellis and her company, Mimosa Handcrafted, this month's Champion of Louisiana, presented by LWCC. LWCC is Louisiana loyal.
Our listeners fire up their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
Time doesn't stop, and the world keeps spinning. Community, culture, and communications, the powerful circle that connects us together. We're creating the next evolution, a network built for every possibility, moving faster than ever before, streaming us forward into the future. And the revolution is closer than you think. RTC, ETEL, and Vision are now.
Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Tuesday's AFR, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Sean Salisbury joins us to talk NFL playoff races. We'll recap Pels Bucks. Join us Tuesday, AFR 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging out here on a Tuesday, Hunt Palmer Show, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Every Tuesday we head out to the Jim's Firearms Hotline, chat with WDSU's Sharif Ishak. Sharif, you want to start with the Saints to Pels?
I'll let you pick.
Start with the Saints. Are they going to the playoffs?
Look. 2.6% chance. Come on, let's not do this. They got a better chance of Sean Payton and Lamar Jackson coming here than that happening. But you never know.
Was the Dome at least excited to sweep Atlanta?
I mean, all 55,000 fans that were there? Yeah, I mean, it was fun for them to at least know that they swept their hated rivals who are also a disaster. So at least you didn't lose to the disaster team in the NFC South.
I said yesterday it sounded on TV like there was a little bit like an echo in the Dome, that it just didn't quite have the juice that it normally does. I didn't realize the attendance was 20,000 short of full, so that would make sense.
Yeah, it was. I'd say probably around 55 to 60,000. We looked around. I was like, I can't believe the Dome isn't sold out for a Falcons game. I know the season isn't great; those teams aren't awesome, but you would think at least for this rivalry game it'd be packed. And I was just like, man, just has this preseason feel, the pre-Sean Payton era feel. I was like, this isn't good, man. This isn't the type of product this team can continue with after this season.
You buying Hashim Shaheed stock? Is he going to be a force from the Saints offense moving forward?
I do like what he does. I really do. I like how he runs. His routes are amazing. He runs great routes. I mean, he gets open, and not just the deep route. He is getting open across the middle of the field as well. And I just think that he needs to get more touches. I think I've said this quite a few times on your show. You've got to get him more involved, whether it's in the, jet sweep, going deep, across the middle, running out routes with him. Just do anything to get him more involved. The stock is, buying his stock right now would be great. I mean, that's, it's one of the rookies that they invested in during the undrafted free agent process, and it's paying off now. That's the one thing they have done well. They usually hit on those undrafted free agents, one or two guys, and he's the one this year. And I like the way the receiver core looks with he and Chris Olave next season. So that's at least a positive alongside with Alontae Taylor. So they're looking good from what they did in this draft class.
Who's got a brighter future with the Saints, Juwan Johnson or Adam Troutman?
Oh, Juwan Johnson. I mean, 11 of his 52 receptions are for touchdowns in his career. The one he does block well, by the way. I mean, his route running also. It's like he's a tweener. He looks like a tight end, but can run receiver routes, and that's something you should be excited about. You can line him up wide, you can line him up in the slot, or you can line him up tight, and then that's what's exciting about him. So yeah, I would say he is the guy I would buy into more than Adam Troutman, just because of what he provides. And in a game where you got to score a lot of points these days.
I didn't love the run defense for the Saints on Sunday. What's the deal there?
That's twice this season the Falcons ate him up on the ground. And they caught him in bad personnel in the second half, and Algier just ate him alive. I mean, it's plain and simple. That's something that can happen. I think we heard him say the same thing after the first game of the year against the Falcons when Patterson crushed him and Marcus Mariota crushed him. It's just bad personnel, man. I mean, 4-19, Hunt. 5-9 now. I mean,
5-9. Don't shorten that win.
It's just what you get with a bad football team. I mean, those are the type of things that aggravate you and eat at you. Or why are the Falcons running it for 200, almost 50 yards against you? That should not happen in any shape, form.
You making the trip up to Cleveland? Sounds like the weather's going to be great.
Nope. Pass on that. A lot of people pass on that trip, and there's probably a smart reason to pass on it. Nobody's trying to sit out there in -10 degrees and snow flurries and a blizzard. I mean, it's going to be cold enough here. I don't want to sit in that. So, no, it's a pass.
I mean, the real feel is supposed to be like, -10, like you said. How do you think this team responds to that?
Here's a little bit of glimmer of hope. The one guy they can really lean on, I can't believe I'm saying this, because he has that experience in playing there, Andy Dalton.
Yeah.
Time in Cincinnati. He knows what it's like to play in those cold games in Cleveland as well, just in that division. So he's the one guy the Saints are going to need to lean heavily on. And, hey, look, they're going to have to get Alvin Kamara more, just as involved as he did this past week. Last week I said he can't have 14 touches. You got to get him between 22 and 30. I believe he had 23 in this game. So you got to get him 25 to 30 for this game, because this is going to be one of those windy and, ugly type of games that you're going to have to grind it on the ground with he. And, well, I don't know who else you're going to run at running back, because David Johnson just isn't working at running back. So you're going to get a heavy dose of AK-41.
Man, as great as the television product was this past weekend in NFL football, all the crazy stuff that happened in the great games, it could be a tough watch this week with the ridiculous weather that's rolling through. I mean, snow everywhere, temperatures around 0 in a lot of places. It's going to be a tough watch this weekend. But the NBA plays inside, so we'll transition over to that, which is good. Not great. The Pels have lost 4 straight. What was the energy like in the blender last night?
Man, we go from cold to colder. A week ago, we were talking about how great things were, 18-8, first place in the Western Conference. They were never going to hold on to that, obviously, but just the way that they played. Let me go back from when this losing streak started. They got a lot of issues. I mean, I'm not saying this is a big problem, but it's becoming a problem, Hunt. During this 4-game losing streak, they're having issues with the turnovers, live ball turnovers, careless turnovers that are turning into a lot of points for the opposing teams, and the offensive rebounds. Those have to get shored up real quickly, because that's going to become a problem if teams have figured them out and just crashing the boards while they just watch. But last night in general, hey, man, atmosphere was lit. No joke. I mean, it was sold out. It was an actual sellout. Giannis did what Giannis usually does to almost every team in the NBA. Zion, who historically struggles when he plays the Bucks. They just have, a way to clamp him down. And Drew Holiday, no shocker there, he knows how to clamp him down, and he did a good job of that last night. But Jonas at least showed a glimpse of, someone who, could score again, and that's what they needed. They needed their big fella to get out there and put up some points. He did a good job and getting to the basket and even shooting the jumper from outside. They need a little bit more of that from him. And I'm not saying you need the 30-plus points every night, but you need a little bit more production from him at the rim and away from the basket. He's not that stretch big that I told you this team is eventually going to need and another shooter. But they need him to do, get close to that 20-point range almost every game.
Mason Ginsberg put some pictures on Twitter earlier today of the Bucks defense in the last 5 minutes against the Pels, and essentially they put Lopez on Herb Jones, and he just didn't guard him. He just guarded. He played in the zone, cut off drives, helped around the rim, just did not go to the perimeter with Herb Jones ever. Is that a problem? If that's going to be one of the guys you're going to put out on the floor late?
I think that he's going to have to learn how to adjust on the fly. If that's how Herb is going to play and he can't adjust, then we got an issue there. If he's one of your starting guys on that court and it's not working, he's been up and down this season. And they say try Trey Murphy. He only gets a short run and then they take him out. And I think maybe that's the guy you might want to give a little bit more run if that's the case. If Herb ain't doing it, you put Trey out there and see if he can cook. But I think Herb eventually comes around. I mean, last night's that's a different beast, man. You got a guy in Lopez who can work from inside out, got a good jumper. Giannis, he's not really a good three-point shooter, but, he hit a couple last night. I mean, he drives to the lane. His Euro is unbelievable. What are you supposed to do? Jonas isn't stopping Giannis, dude. I mean, that's just how it is. No one's stopping him.
Jonas is not stopping Giannis. Put that on a bumper sticker. Sell it up there in Minneapolis. Or no, I guess that would be Milwaukee. Last one here, Sharif. Appreciate the time. Any concern with the lack of significant updates on BI?
I was a little blown away whenever it first came out as day-to-day. When you tell me something is day-to-day, it's not 11 games. You shouldn't tell me day-to-day if it's 11 games. Just say it's week-to-week. Bruce, look, Austin Bain has been out for, he's out 3 or 4 weeks. That was what they said whenever he was out. Desmond Bain, my bad, for the Memphis Grizzlies.
Yep.
If you would have just said a few weeks, he's going to be out a couple of weeks, it'd have been better than saying day-to-day. It's just so deceiving to say day-to-day. And he's one of the guys that doesn't want to be on the court unless he's 100%. I don't blame him. He doesn't want to re-aggravate anything. But at some point in time, they're going to need their star back. They really need his shooting. And his shooting is, as you can see, has been greatly missed because that is the type of guy who can shoot from outside and give you that consistent outside shot. But, hey, man, 82-game season, it ebbs and flows. You win 7, you lose 4. I mean, that's going to happen. But they just cannot get into a deeper hole. They just can't have these glaring problems with the turnovers and giving teams a lot of offensive rebounds.
We'll talk about it next week. Have a great weekend, Sharif. Thanks.
All right, hon.
Sharif Ishak, WDSU. Saints-Browns game is just going to be absolutely brutal in terms of weather. I have no interest in sitting out there in a negative wind chill situation watching those two teams play football, but somebody will probably watch it a little bit on TV. Speaking of football on TV, the famous Idaho Potato Bowl is on right now. That is, I believe, Eastern Michigan and San Jose State. San Jose State has gone up 7-0 in that game with a long touchdown run. So can't miss it on the blue turf up there at Boise. The famous Idaho Potato Bowl is on. They have played 4 minutes up there in Boise. We'll come back and shut it down. Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Got a chance to sit down with David Duvall and chat with him earlier this week. Love that crew over there at One Bath and Closets. If you're looking to renovate your space, whether it's your bathroom or your closet, One Bath and Closets is your one-stop shop. It's not a great time to move. We know that. A lot of people aren't trying to move at this point. So how do you improve your living space? Well, you renovate, and One Bath and Closets can do it. How much better would your bathroom situation be if David Duvall and his crew came in there and took out your tub and put in a walk-in shower? How much more functional could your closet be? How much clutter are you dealing with? One stop, One Bath and Closets, they'll get it done. On the closet side, we're offering an awesome deal. No labor for the installation or the tear out of your old closet system. All you do is buy the closet unit from David Duvall and his team. They're not going to make you pay for that labor. Just tell them Hunt Palmer sent you. The Hunt Palmer Show sent you over there to One Bath and Closets. Check out the website, onebathandclosets.com. They can give you a better perspective of just what it is they can do, and they got a ton of testimonials right there. They've been in the game for 30 years, and I can promise you this. They're not coming back 2 or 3 weeks later to fix a problem because they cut corners. No. They'll do it right the first time and leave the competition behind. David Duvall and his team, it's One Bath and Closets. The website, onebathandclosets.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Sky, I've got that sunshine.
We get it done with strength, commitment, dedication, grit. We get it done with passion for our fans and love for our community. We are the Tigers. Get it done.
Let the values of the purple and gold be in your starting lineup this season. And as always, get it done.
Winter can be magical. The Mercedes-Benz Winter Event is here, and there's no better time to check out our new Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge inventory. We have the vehicles that can make your holiday extraordinary. See all the latest technological features on the newest models during our Mercedes-Benz Winter Event. Shop our best of the best award-winning dealership. Visit mbobr.com.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset.
Jimmy out and Mike Delicano for the Tuesday evening edition of Game Time, presented by Bet Rivers. We're at Mike Anderson's on Lee, just off of Nicholson. That's Game Time, presented by Bet Rivers, 6 to 8 p.m. on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're listening to Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
One more reminder here on a Tuesday, always out at Pluckers on Nicholson, 8:30. And we'll be there this weekend. Took last week off. They had their holiday party. Back in action tonight, sports trivia, Nicholson location of Pluckers, 8:30. Bring a team. Bring a team out there. Have fun. We're in the bar area. Give away some Plucker gift cards to the winners. Best team name gets 10 Pluckers dollars. Got some cold drinks, great food, and we'll have some sports on TV. They'll have NBA action on, probably a bowl game tonight, I'd have to imagine. It's always a good time. So get a team coming out to Pluckers on Nicholson at 8:30 for sports trivia. All right, let's close up shop with some take it or leave it.
Yeah, I've been waiting for you to comment on this one, being the golf fanatic you are.
Mm-hmm.
The Masters announced today that there will be no changes to the qualifications for the 2023 tournament, meaning the live players will be invited. Take it or leave it.
We know my feelings on live. I hate it. I hate Greg Norman. But this is the right thing to do. I'll take it.
I'll take it.
The Masters tournament doesn't have to take up the mantle for all of golf. We know the history of Augusta, but they've also done some great things for the sport. like all the amateur events they do, like the women's Augusta National Amateur event that they do at Augusta. And they want to put on the best tournament they can. And if you have a tournament with no Dustin Johnson and no Cam Smith and no Bryson DeChambeau, then you just don't have the best players in the world. And those players have qualified for this, whether it's from winning the Masters or winning another major in the last 5 years. They have qualified for this tournament. So to put on the best tournament you can, you got to have those guys. And it really puts an emphasis on the majors because it'll be the only time all year you get the best players in the world actually together instead of split up, which is the entire reason I loathe what Live Golf has done to the sport. It's great for the players that have gone over there and taken hundreds of millions of dollars. Great for them to continue to win $1 bajillion. Awful for the golf viewer who's trying to watch the best players in the world compete week in and week out, and they can't, but they will at Augusta. I think it's the right move.
Central Arkansas got a commitment from a free safety out of Northwest Mississippi Community College named Dude Person. Dude Person, take it or leave it.
Oh man, you got to take it. I mean, he's a dude, right? That's what you're looking for, dudes in the portal. You're looking for dudes in your signing class. You're looking for dudes in free agency in the pro sports. Look, Central Arkansas got a dude. Just happens to be Dude Person. I saw that on Twitter today, and I did get a kick out of it. So yeah, that's a nice pickup for Central Arkansas. Which, by the way, if you've never seen Mike Norvell's picture from Central Arkansas in his college days, I would Google that. It's quite impressive to see what Mike Norvell looked like when he was playing quarterback at Central Arkansas. Next one.
Former NC State quarterback Devin Leary is now expected to commit to Kentucky. With Leary and the return of Liam Cohen, Kentucky's offense will be kickstarted once again. Take it or leave it.
I'll take it. Sure. Leary's good. Cohen did a good job last year. They stunk this past year. I think it didn't get quite enough play just how bad Kentucky was offensively this past season because we don't expect great things from Kentucky. Yes, they were picked to be second or third in the East preseason. Yes, we know Will Levis. Yes, we know they lost some games. I don't think it was ever quite covered like I would have imagined how poor they were on offense with a first-round pick at quarterback, with one of the all-time best running backs in school history at tailback. They couldn't replace Wan'Dale Robinson. They couldn't move the football. They were really bad on offense. Now they're bringing Liam Cohen back. Leary did a nice job at NC State. I guess they'll be better, certainly, than they were last year. How good they are, it's Kentucky. I never have super high expectations. Sorry, Jacob Hester. I know you love the Cats. I think they're pretty mediocre.
Four-star quarterback Marcel Reed committed to Texas A&M yesterday, just hours after decommitting from Ole Miss, trading in Lane Kiffin as a play caller for Jimbo Fisher. Take it or leave it.
I mean, this is like having a Corvette or a Maserati and trading it in for a jalopy or a bike. I mean, this is like saying, hey, I'm going to go to the finest steakhouse in Manhattan and instead walking down to the street vendor and grabbing a taco. And this is a horrendous decision if you're trying to play football. Now, if you got some NIL cash coming from College Station way, okay. Lane's talked about that pretty, a lot of people have done that. Ross Bjork left Oxford for Texas A&M. Obviously, we saw DJ Durkin leave Oxford for College Station. This has happened before, not to play quarterback. You got a wide open, space-creating, fun offense as opposed to the punchline of college football. Now, maybe they hire a great splash offensive coordinator that I don't know about, but at this point, ditching Lane Kiffin for Jimbo Fisher is not great. But such is life in the college football world. That is your edition of Take It or Leave It here on a Tuesday. I want to remind you about dropbiscuit.com. Professional golfers John Peterson and JJ Colleen answer all your golf and life questions inside the new Drop Biscuit Studio podcast for the people. You can download or subscribe today at dropbiscuit.com. And if you listen to it, Peterson probably talk about how awesome Liv is. Makes me very, very sad. Me and John have a good Twitter relationship. We're both loyal Tigers, love golf. He loves Liv. I hate it, and I get sad when he tweets about Liv. But he'll probably talk about it on For the People, so check that out. Fun show today here on a Tuesday. Talked my perspective on the recruiting world to open the show. Then we mentioned some players by name: Desmond Ricks, Paris Shand, Jalen Swinson, Isaac Smith. What LSU expects to get tomorrow as they open up the early signing period for high school recruits. Glenn West of Go247 mentioned a little bit about that. We talked LSU football as well as basketball with Glenn. And then I finished the first hour talking about what collegiate baseball thinks of LSU. 4 All-Americans in the preseason, number 1 ranking, and what's going to be as highly anticipated a regular season series as the new box has potentially ever seen, with Tennessee coming to town with 3 All-Americans in their rotation. I talked all about that at the end of the first hour. Played you some sound from Matt McMahon to kick off hour number 2. We talked about the Pels losing 4 in a row, and then Sharif Ishak on the Saints and the Pels in his normal Tuesday slot at 2:30. Always finish things up with Take It or Leave It. If you missed any of that and any of it interests you whatsoever, go to 1045ESPN.com's on-demand page. Check my name right there, and it's all right there. Or you can go to Apple Podcast, Spotify, YouTube. Appreciate those of y'all hanging out in the Bayou Forward chat. Anywhere you take in your audio or your video on YouTube, you can find The Hunt Palmer Show, and we appreciate you hanging out. We also have Taylor clipped some individual segments each and every day that you can find on our channel. So go ahead and subscribe to it. We'd really appreciate that very, very much. Jimmy Ott's Game Time rolls on tonight from 6 to 8. Matt Moscona is about to drive you home on After Further View from 3 to 6. Hope to see you out at Pluckers tonight. Either way, we'll see you right here, same time, same place tomorrow. Talking National Signing Day. It's the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN.